Hey guys, Casey here. You're tuning in to Lions Den Investments and Reviews, and today is Friday. Guys, who's hungry here for some good crypto news? Because I've got a lot of bullish news coming out in the market right now, and I want to talk about a few things. One is the supply shock with Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then I also want to go over some of the other bullish news that I'm encountering here, as well as the XRP and SEC uh, extension on the expert discovery. So, getting into it today, basically, I just want to cover some technical analysis real quick, show you the charts so you can see where we're at, and then we'll get into more of the good news with the supply shock and some of the other articles that I want to cover. But looking at Bitcoin here, I'm on a weekly chart right now, guys, and I wanted to zoom out into longer time frames just so you can see what is actually taking place, so you're not honed in on, say, like a 4 hour or a 2 hour chart. There's a lot of videos right now coming out from day traders, and quite honestly, I'm not a day trader, okay? I'm more of a long term mindset when it comes to this technology, because I know where it's going and I know what these central banks are doing, along with federal governments across the world, when it comes to implementing stable coins and central banking digital coins, stuff of that nature. But just looking at the chart here, guys, on the weekly for Bitcoin, um, you can see we had a massive run up. Okay, we had a massive run up, and that price range was from down here all the way up to the very top, which was, that's about a 67 or 70% increase in price, just over the last month. And I can tell you, okay, and so can a lot of the day traders if you just go watch their videos. Anytime you get these big spikes up like this in price, you're always going to revert back. Okay, you're always going to come back down. And if you watched my last video, I did say that I was expecting a pullback on Bitcoin and the rest of the markets. That's what we got yesterday, and I'm still standing by that. Okay, I think you're going to see a lot of that play out over the weekend and going into next week. We need a healthy pullback. So I've got the top resistance here, which was around that $50,000 psychological barrier that I was talking about, and then if you go down here to, like, basically at the top of the estimated moving average on the 21 day, I've got us at least coming back down to around like 42 or $41,000. That would be a healthy pullback, especially on a like a 67 or 70% increase in price like we got. So if you got that pullback coming down to right around there, that's 17 to 20% pullback. That there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, that's completely healthy. So that's what I'm looking for. Um, Now let's go over here into the news, because I was talking about the supply shock. What do I mean by supply shock? Basically, you had the EIP 1559 protocol that was implemented on Ethereum, which allowed for 90% of the supply of Ethereum moving forward to be burned. So that's reducing the supply there. So you got the supply shock on Ethereum. Bullish, okay? Bullish. Ethereum's price should go much, much higher just due to that fundamental alone within the protocol. Then you have here the Bitcoin mining difficulty, which surged 13.24% as miners returned to duty for mining on the Bitcoin network. Now here's the thing with mining, and when they start talking about the mining difficulty, what they're talking about is the hash rate within the network. Okay, so when the difficulty surges, it's because you have more miners coming onto the network, and this has to do with the hash rate. And if you know anything about, solving algorithms through the consensus algorithms on the Bitcoin network, okay, if you're aware of any of that, this is how it works. Basically, your miners have to solve mathematical problems, right? Well, this is part of what they call the nonce, and the nonce is just a value, it's a sequence of values within the algorithm, and they're trying to solve the puzzle. When I say they're trying to solve the puzzle, what they're trying to do is guess how many leading zeros are in this nonce. And those leading zeros could be like 7 zeros or 8 zeros or something like that, right? When this nonce is solved, then you've got your hash rate essentially. So this hash rate, when it increases, the I believe it's the difficulty here that's going to increase as well. So when your difficulty increases on the network, the Bitcoin that is being mined takes a little bit longer, so your block times go up as well. So normally with Bitcoin, your block time is about 10 minutes. That can increase when you've got a surge of demand on the Bitcoin network. Okay, so your block times could go from like 10 minutes to 60 minutes for confirmation. So this is extremely bullish because when the difficulty increases, the amount of the block time goes up as well. And if you've got all this demand on the network, right, and Bitcoin's not being produced at a really fast rate, and that rate starts slowing down, you can run into supply problems. So again, Bitcoin's price can go up because of this. Moving on though, here's another article I found. Bitcoin whales buy $940 million in Bitcoin, signaling a bullish reversal. Okay, 940 million in Bitcoin. Bullish. Whales are large wallet holders holding 100 to 10,000 Bitcoin. Companies with Bitcoin on their balance sheet now account for 8% of the assets circulating supply. MicroStrategy, which is a publicly traded business intelligence company, accumulated 177 million worth of Bitcoin during the dip. Hedge funds are bullish on Bitcoin with end-of-year prediction of $100,000. So I kept saying that Bitcoin's price, I was expecting at least to go to $75,000 or $100,000. I'm still standing by that. Here's another article. These 13 banks have invested the most in crypto and blockchain to date. Now, earlier this week, people were coming out talking about 6 major banks that are jumping all in on crypto, being J.P. Morgan, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, Bank of America, and then I believe the last one was U.S. Banking Corp. Here in the United States. That's 6 of the largest banks in the United States that are all in, jumping into cryptos as we speak. And then just to add to that, guys, I mean, some of those banks I mentioned are in this list, but there's 13 banks in this list as well. So if we scroll down, they give you the list right here. You got Standard Chartered, BNY Mellon, Citibank, UBS, BNP Paribas, which is a French financial group working with digital assets to develop real-time trade and settlement applications using smart contracts based on the DAML programming language. You got Morgan Stanley. Again, I said JP Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, MUFG, ING, BBVA, Nomura, and Barclays. Okay, I'll leave the link in the description below so you can check out these banks if you want. Which leads me now, again, being bullish with the banks, leads me into this part, which is I found an article on the U.S. empire has fallen and to choose Bitcoin. So if you're not familiar with what I was talking about with wealth cycles a couple videos back, I was talking about, every 500 years throughout history, if you just go back and do a little bit of research on the history, you'll find out every 500 years we have a revolution. And every time there's a revolution, the population moves away from centralized authority to a more decentralized control of authority, right? So you go from centralized to decentralized. It just so happens to be at this time, we're at the end of the 500-year wealth cycle, which is a revolution, and you've got, again, the population moving away from central authority over to a decentralized system. And Bitcoin just so happens to be that factor. And here's evidence right here of what I'm talking about. So I'll leave a link for this as well. I'm not going to go over this article, but basically they're saying the moral authority of the U.S. has been lost. Instead, choose Bitcoin and other open systems that respect freedom in the digital age. Decentralized. So, that leads me to the last piece right here, guys. I don't know if you're invested in XRP, but I am. Ripple Okay, in the SEC case, I haven't given an update for a while here because it's ongoing, it's ever evolving, it's hard to keep up with. But basically, what is taking place now is Ripple and the SEC are seeking an extension of expert discovery deadline, among other things. So basically, just recently, I'm trying to remember here what happened, but just recently the SEC again came back, wanted to reject the judge's request for documentation on conversations they had about what Ethereum was, and so the judge wasn't too happy with the SEC about that because again they've been asking for this all along, and the judge the SEC keeps telling the judge that's not uh, that's not important to this case, right? Judge disagrees. Not to mention, um, you got this extension on the expert discovery, and they're talking about the date of like November 12th. And to be honest with you guys, I think they're trying to push this back. Let me know what your thoughts are on this, but I think they're trying to push the date back on the discovery deadline because somehow I feel like it aligns with uh, bigger bigger things that are going on in the background when it comes to the cross border payments and remittance systems that are okay. They're already live. They're being used in Japan and the Philippines. Okay, and they're gonna roll this out in phases. Um, so if you haven't checked it out, go look at the IMF's own documents when it comes to the deadline dates on facilitating transactions through this cross-border system with Swift and BIS because it plays out all the way into like the year 2025. But it's not rolled out all at once. It's rolled out in phases. So what I think what what I think they're doing here is they're going to roll this thing out in phases, and one of these phases that's going to come out sometime probably right around November, December, moving into 2022, is going to be this transition into uh, the digital system, which is a go live for XRP and Ripple here in the United States and across other countries. I think that's what you're going to see, but for some reason, my gut tells me that this extension on the expert discovery is in line with that rollout phase through the IMF's own documents. Okay, especially with facilitations of transactions through Swift and BIS. And I know there's a lot of news out there right now where they're talking about Swift merging with Ripple.net as well, um, so that the two kind of work hand in hand. So they may be waiting on that as well in the background, and it might align with this expert discovery to a certain degree. If you have any information on this or you know more than I do about it, let me know. Leave comments in the comments section, and I would love to read over some of these comments that you guys might have on, digging deeper into this and kind of trying to connect the dots. So that's all I've got for today, though, guys. Hope you guys have a good weekend, and as usual, um, the markets are volatile. Just have steady hands, have diamond hands, hodl, and with that said, I'll be back here next week shooting another video. Till next time, fear nothing, my friends.